All right, well, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
And this is, of course, Conversations with the Crawleys, where we're having conversations about faith, family, relationships. And we're kind of centering around packaging it around shows that we like, shows that we watch. Mm-hmm. This one is all dedicated to Marry Me Now. Season 1, Episode 3. Again, normally the shows that we like, we're still kind of up in the air on this show, but...
Yeah, it's falling though. It's no longer going to be happening.
All right, so look, if this is content that you enjoy, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like, request notifications, and share. And we will see you in the comments. All right. All right. So we've got, what's their names? Amber and Alrick.
Yes.
In Houston again.
Yes.
Shout out to Houston. I don't know if I ever want to visit Houston. It just doesn't seem like an appealing city to me.
I don't know. But obviously people are getting married now. In
Houston. In
Houston.
They have been together for about 2.5 years.
Correct.
She has a daughter from a previous relationship.
Correct.
Former military, Navy, I think she said.
I believe so.
And so she moved after her duty, whatever.
Right.
She moved to Houston, met Alrick. They are both kind of in the fitness arena. Mm-hmm. And so he thinks he's on a couple bodybuilding show.
Right.
So we don't have any random...
Right, no random name.
Trash name.
Which is good.
Build my body. Now. None of that for this one, right?
Right. Thank you. If you're going to put effort in it, put effort. If you're not, just say it's a bodybuilding
I think it'll be back next week. They'll probably come up with some lame name next week for the fake show. And so the wedding coordinator, the relationship coach.
Right.
She's a wedding coordinator. Starts to kind of talk through, and so we find out that they've been together, like we said.
Right.
He's cheated before. Or at least reached out to other women.
Right.
Before.
I guess he had emotional
attachments, entanglements.
Right. Where he started to talk to other women. Mm-hmm. And then what they decided to end up doing was to go to therapy.
Right.
And that he found out that he had some insecurities. Mm-hmm. And that's why he needed a lot of, I guess, affirmation from other women.
Yep.
Is the best way to put it. But... she still feels, because he has been putting in the work and doing what he needs to,
right,
that she wants to propose to him.
Right.
So in the life coach, relationship coach, as she's titled, what's her name?
Robin, I think it is.
Yes, Robin. It's like, are you sure that this is a good time to get married? Mm-hmm. Do you want to marry someone where you may have some trust issues with? And she kind of explains how they've been working through this. He's been really working diligently to move forward, and that she still feels like it's the right time to get married. But there's also family issues.
Yes.
So there's a little sister, because the mom is now deceased.
Right. His mom is deceased.
His mom is deceased. And his little sister is kind of like backing him up.
And she's become the matriarch of the family, even though she's the baby sister.
Right. So I guess any intentions in this happening is between her trust and building trust with Alrick.
Right. And
trying to make sure that the little sister is on board about the wedding.
Right. And she does say, because the coach.
Mm-hmm. Yes, coach.
The coach says, would the relationship survive if he said no? And she says, no, it wouldn't survive if he said no.
Right.
So she meets with her sister, and her sister's like, oh, that's perfect. I think that's just going to be great. What have you.
Right.
It's time.
Right.
I'm happy for you.
Right.
But she makes a statement that I'm like, that could be a little difficult.
What's that?
She makes a statement that she feels like this, in other words, getting married, would cause Alrick to straighten up.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Marriage does not make someone straighten up.
Exactly.
If they had cheating issues before they got married, marriage is not going to solve that.
No.
If they had lust issues before, marriage is not going to solve that. Right. Whatever issues they come into the marriage with, unless there is something that is done as a hard stop or to basically help change that behavior, marriage is not a behavior changer.
Exactly.
Let's just be honest.
And I think that's what we have to understand is that, yeah, you may make a decision to marry somebody, but there has to be work here, right? just because like, oh, okay, if we get married, I can trust him more. He has a ring on his finger. People don't care if the person has a ring, married or what.
Nope.
Whatever they're trying to fulfill, they'll try to accomplish that. But I think because she saw some growth in him, and I think everyone's making that comment about seeing growth in him,
Yes.
that is the appropriate time.
Yes.
You know, my concern is that you don't have any close friends and you're telling your business about your now soon to be fiance husband that you had all these issues.
Right.
And I don't think anyone should paint a bad light about their partner.
Right.
You should have some, some close friends you can share. You may share a little bit of things, but not everything with your family that you done made up with him, but everybody else.
And they only hear the bad parts.
They only hear the bad parts and not the good parts.
So yeah, because she meets with her friend Gloria at the bridal or the dress choosings.
Right.
I was about to call it a ceremony, but the choosing of the dress.
Right.
And initially she was going to go with a red dress, which.
Right. She wanted to be untraditional.
Right.
And those are the times you can't talk a bride out of that. You let them try those dresses on.
Yep.
And then they decide if that's fitting for them.
Right.
And when she tried them on, she was like, I don't feel like a bride. Yeah, because you don't look like a bride.
Because they look like cocktail dresses in many respects. They look like
a reward.
Right.
Show. Right.
So, not cocktail dresses, but, like banquet dresses.
Banquet dresses or an award show or something like that.
So she does get her white dress.
It was like, it had like a...
It was kind of opaque.
What do you call it? Like blush.
Yeah.
Color to it. So it was still not as traditional.
Right.
Which I think that's what she meant. She didn't want to go for a traditional dress. So.
Yeah. And then she said she can visualize the wedding. Well, that's kind of not hard to do when your wedding is like 24, 48 hours away.
Right. I guess it's more like her saying like, he's going to say yes. And she could see herself standing on the stage with him. So
she meets with her stepdad.
Right.
Who is her mom's ex.
Right. Which is good that she was still has a relationship with him. Yeah.
Broman had colored beard. He had like Skittles in his beard or something.
Skittles in his beard. Hey, whatever works for you, that works for you.
Yep.
Do you?
Go ahead.
But they choose rings. So she, I guess, wanted a man's opinion and make sure that he's going to be there at the wedding.
Yes.
So they did choose rings. It's just so hard for me. It's like your mom is not going to be there to pick out your dress for you, So you lose some things and sometimes you don't realize what you lose when you have to do everything on your own.
Right.
And she couldn't come sooner.
And you're doing things in a rushed manner.
Right, right. So I think those are the things you have to think about because when you look back after this done, it's like, oh, they weren't there for these. These could have been special moments that we didn't get a chance to share.
Right.
So,
and it's a difference if the mom was completely against it and didn't want to be involved.
Right.
Versus the mom just was not able to be involved because you pushed everything to a timetable that wouldn't allow for her to be there. So.
Right. Yeah. But they went on. It's a free wedding. I mean, if anything, you ain't to pay for nothing. My understanding.
At least we hope so. I don't know if the coordinator charged them for anything on the back end.
Shut up.
I'm sorry.
So she catches us. So she's in a dress. It's time for her to propose.
Yeah. Oh, before that, though, she does meet with his sister and brother.
Oh, yes. That's the important part, right?
Because she meets with his sister had a little beef with her because evidently there was something about Alrick had told Amber he was someplace and was basically trying to get his sister to back him up, even though his sister was like, eh. So the first sister said yes or said no, he wasn't with me. Then she changed the story. So it was this whole argument, disagreement, what have you, between them because the sister was put in many respects unfairly into the middle of it. So the sister's kind of like, I'm good with that. She's like, I'm looking out for my family. But she said, and this is kind of what you alluded to before, she was like, don't just tell me the negative things. Tell me when each other does well, because then I won't have issues with you because all I hear is you messed up again.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's an important part. And as a family member, like, okay, I don't want to hear
I don't need to hear everything.
I don't need to hear everything. You call me when things are good and tell me how well things are going.
Right.
Because, yeah, you want to be supportive, but at the same time, people want to come to you when they want you to be on their side.
Right.
And
I
so,
want you to co-sign mess.
they're mess. But she was like, no, we're good. You know, my mom passed away. I feel like as the woman, because they're all boys, that, you know, I'm just supposed to be there for them.
Right.
And so they hugged, and the brother was so excited that his brother was getting married. You thought he was getting married.
Right.
How excited he was. But it was good to see that they felt like she was a good fit for him.
Right.
So it's like, okay, it's a surprise, but maybe it's not a surprise, you know?
The timing is a surprise, but
Right.
it basically seems like it was headed this direction. Anyway.
Correct.
So she interrupts because he's at a gym class at the YMCA, it looks like.
Right.
Right. It looked like it was a community center.
Yeah, or a church where you borrowing a room.
And he's not leading the class. He's participating in the
Participating.
back of the class. And so she comes in the dress. He's, what are you wearing this?
He's like, oh, wow, you're beautiful.
And he says yes.
Right. He says yes. He starts to cry.
Yeah.
He starts crying. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad you're excited.
Yeah.
And so they go out and she's like, we're getting married now. He's like, now? He's like, yeah, we got to go get your dress. Let's go. And so they're in the car, you know, and sharing tears together.
Yes.
And I'm assuming ready to start their life together.
Right.
So pretty much he gets to the
chapel.
He gets dressed.
He has a red tux, so there's that red.
There's the red she needed.
And they get married. Goes off without a hitch.
Right.
Nothing, you know.
Nothing major. I mean, so I think this is the thing about the show. It's just like, that's wonderful.
Right.
And yeah, you're not going to marry someone that's going to be perfect.
Right.
No one is.
I still think that there needs to be some level of marital counseling. Just because we are big advocates of premarital counseling.
Right.
Just because it helps to identify those roadblocks, identify those things that maybe just an outside pair of eyes have an opportunity to look at to help you to kind of see things that maybe you've overlooked or haven't thought about.
Well, yeah, because even they stated it, like, we know that this is not going to, she says, I know this is not going to change some of the things that we're still going to have to work through as a couple. So she's like, I'm just glad now that we're, I guess, identifying their commitment to one another, you know, or showing their love for one another.
Right.
So hopefully they understand that.
Yeah.
And they continue to work through any, you know, all issues.
I think for this show, I think the challenge is that there's not really an opportunity, in my opinion, to get invested emotionally with each couple to say, I want them to succeed or I'm happy for them, what have you.
Right.
In many respects, and let us know what you think, I think that most of what many people are watching this show for is the train wreck. We're watching for the, no, I'm not going to marry you.
Right.
No, I'm leaving you at the altar.
Right.
That's what many people are watching for.
Right. That's the suspense.
Because with any dating relationship show, most of the time we have time to get invested with each person. In this instance, we're only getting one person's viewpoint. So it's like either you're rooting for them or you're not, or you just don't care.
Right.
Because you're only seeing one side. You're not seeing both sides.
Right.
And saying, yeah, I want them to succeed.
Right. So I guess what probably would make the show better if they would take time to follow him a little bit and ask him maybe some questions about the relationship.
Right.
Do you see yourself ever getting married?
Right.
Man.
So, because I mean, I think it might work better, and if the producers are watching this, because I don't know. But this is I think that it might work better if there's a season 2 of this, that it might work better if they follow the couples and don't try and force every relationship into one episode, but spend an episode looking at maybe 3 different couples through different portions as we're moving through this, so that, yes, you kind of get to know each couple. And then at the end, there's this, yes, I like them, I want them to succeed, or no, that's a train wreck in the making. That shouldn't work. So
Right.
just my thoughts.
Or they could do where they are contemplating getting married and have them go through the couples counseling and different things as they work their way towards the wedding.
Yeah.
And that could give you several episodes of just some of the things that they're trying
But
to face.
that takes out the marry me now portion of it. I think the marry me now portion can still work, but you have to see both sides of it. And yes, like you said a little while ago, that if there is maybe just because they're on this fake show, be having, yes, these filmings with the other person, but still work into how's your relationship? Talk to me about how things are going. You know, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What do you like about her? What do you not like about her? And then that way I can say, okay, I feel I like Alrick. I want him to marry her.
Right.
There's a couple there.
Right.
Or no, I'm not feeling it.
Right.
There's just something. It's
a disconnect.
We're getting a one-sided story, so we're not as invested in both sides because we're just seeing and we're waiting for the train wreck.
Right.
Sorry. But that's it for this review.
You can cash app us if you want for your production rights.
Let us know what you think. We'll see you all next time. Have a great one. Be blessed.